Fixed me.
I'm here against my will. What's going on, guys? We got two important topics to cover this week. One, lease to purchase, co-signing that. Is that beneficial to anyone? Let's find out. And number two, having freight stuck in your truck. What can you do?
But before we start, please like, share, subscribe, follow us on social media, and leave a comments down below. That helps us with further future topics.
Yep. So let's kind of start with the co-signing of the lease. So just something that came across the table this week is drivers looking to make a move. Hasn't paid that truck off completely just yet, so he doesn't have title, but now he's limited to where he can port that truck. He can move it, but the carrier has to sign that all deductions have to be made by the carrier and monies sent over to them from the carrier. So is that really freedom?
I don't think so. Most likely, in my opinion, again, just my opinion, I think you're going to be very limited to places which you can go because a company like ours, do we really want to do it? Probably not. Not because we're against you or something like that. Mostly because it just adds additional tasks to our accounting department and so on. And we're not trying to be this, huge multi-floor company.
Right.
And it just becomes a little bit too complicated. And for you as well, to go to every company and explain all that, I don't know, it just comes with a lot of baggage, in my opinion.
Yeah, agree. Well said. It's just, you're going from one to another and getting into a situation like that sometimes it's just not healthy because, again, it minimizes where you can go to take the truck and it might not be a suitable place that you want the truck to be, but you ran out of options based on what you have.
Yeah, but from what I understand, that place that, that specific scenario that we're talking about, that leasing company is also a carrier. So the individual could still work there without any restrictions, right?
Right. So again, the lease to purchases, no one's giving away trucks, right? So we have to understand that. In my opinion, again, there's no right and wrong. Here's just opinions. That's going to be designed where it's not in his benefit to take that truck anywhere. They're going to make it complicated. It sounds easier up front. The guy's willing to give us a hefty down payment so we have funds. But still, what happens if his truck breaks down on Tuesday and he made no money for that week and there's a negative balance? What is the responsibility of that carrier to prove why you can't send money over that week? How does that complicate it?
So maybe there is a responsibility where maybe there isn't. We don't know that. That's, again, this is not a legal advice, but presumption can be there. So my biggest challenge in this situation as a carrier would be, what are my responsibilities? Who is responsible for reporting? Who is responsible to providing the proof? Is that just a driver? Am I just deducting the money and sending it to the company that actually leases the truck? Or there is more involved? And if it's all just about sending the money, if the money is there, then no problem. But if that has anything else to do, let's say if the driver didn't work and now he makes no money and now I have nothing to send to the leasing company, am I being asked anything else? Am I being asked mileage reporting, this reporting, that reporting? We would have to pay people to do that. And, that's just not, that's not an easy situation that I would be very much willing to jump into. The bottom line, I would say this. Ideally, if you're trying to get a truck, try to get a truck. Don't try to marry the company with your truck purchase because that potentially going to be a long-term problem if something doesn't work out. But if you are already in that situation and you're stuck in that company until you pay off the truck, maybe it's at your best interest to actually stick through this and live it there because at the end, in the other end, like how bad that company really is, or maybe you just now making all these radical decisions, just trying to do. How do you say that? Mixing the movement with progress or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Don't confuse movement for progress.
Exactly. So maybe now you think, I'm going to go to this company or that company, and you think you accomplishing something when in reality probably your best bet is just to stick through it and get it done and live to see another day.
Yeah, check it out. I kid you not making this up though. The guy that I drove in today that he parked his trailer in the back, he's actually coming off of a lease to purchase. So he's in a much better position because he's paying off his truck. He's about to have his last payment, get title in his name, and now he's free. So there you go. So I think that's a better position to be in those type of situations. So I would say, probably live it out, get that title, and then make your move.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the best position is to be when you buy a truck from a dealer, individual, or whatnot, when you don't have to work at one specific company locked in, and then you are your own boss. That's the beauty about being owner operator. You are your own boss. You want to be able to do whatever you want to do. Hopefully that's the right decision, and you don't want to be stuck with a company that locks you into some kind of program that comes with a truck purchase.
Yeah. So before we move on to the next topic, make sure you drop your comments below. Share your experience. Did it work? Did it not work for you? How did you get out of it? Let us know. I'm sure other people can learn from your experience as well.
Absolutely. So what's next?
We got a trailer with stuff in it.
Trailer with stuff.
Hey, better trailer stuff in it, but trailer that should have stuff in it, and the stuff is not there, right?
So all right. So let's talk about this stuff.
Let's talk about it. All right.
So it happened.
So I guess we were talking about the trailers that we get loaded, and then all of a sudden now we can't make the delivery. So now we got to sit on it for 2 or 3 days, and it becomes problematic on every front. Using trailers is an asset. That's where we make our money. Certainly, brokers will pay you, a few dollars to hang on to it, but it never equals the amount of money that you lose, by holding a trailer. We certainly don't want to be in the storage business. That's not what we do. That's for other people that sell trailers and things of that nature. But when we are not doing what we need to do, gentlemen, from cradle to grave, from the standpoint of making on-time pickups and making on-time deliveries, sometimes we put ourselves in position.
And that's a great point. So kind of, if you don't mind, just kind of pause there for a second, because I think sometimes there's a misconception that there's only one loser in this, and that's the owner operator, let's say. But the carrier, we all have skin in the game, and there's actually no winners in a situation like this. Especially when you go to make that second delivery, and now they're pushing your delivery in our situation right now till July 7th, I think it is.
Yes.
So what are we supposed to do for a whole week? Now we're offering free storage. Are we even being compensated for that? So it's not just the driver's downtime; it's actually overall.
But as I said earlier, we can get compensated, but you're not going to get compensated nearly what you would have, what you could do if you were able to use that trailer on other loads.
Yeah, and in our current situation, we were in the position because it was close enough to bring that trailer to the yard. What if he was way further than that, and that wasn't an option?
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of experience with that. So we had a guy a couple of years ago delivering a load in the caves of Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought the load, and apparently the receiver says, "Oh no, your delivery is scheduled for tomorrow." So we go all over those problems with brokers and so on, getting the layover money and everything else, calming down the driver. Dude, let's just live through tonight. Tomorrow morning you're gonna be empty, and we're gonna fight another day.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy is reasonable. He stays out there overnight. Next morning he goes to the delivery. The receiver says again, "Your delivery is tomorrow." We go back to the broker. The broker goes back to the shipper. We go back to the receiver. All that circle, whatever the complication of that load. By the way, that was a load of sugar, so it was a really complicated load because if you transload it or unload it, that's a cargo claim right there, because the seal is going to be broken.
Correct.
So that guy sits there another day. The guy's already losing it. We as a company, we're just about to lose this guy.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to lose a lot of money because obviously, the freight is there. We are here in Florida, and Kansas City is quite a bit out there. The broker is working with us, but obviously not nearly as much as we could just make on our own without that sugar in the trailer. So just like that, the week goes by before the guy gets empty. The guy was reasonable. So what ended up happening, obviously, the broker paid as much money as we could.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up making our certain, investment in that. So we ended up paying for whatever the trailer cost us, for whatever the insurance cost us. We gave all of our, money and more back to the driver. And the driver, again, even after all that money from the broker and us, I still have to really appreciate the driver being just patient there and living through this, because even though, he didn't lose all that money, he only made less. But for him, that was personal. He was there all the time by himself, dealing with that problem. The good part about it, he was reasonable enough to understand that everybody on the team is working to
hard,
get it solved. that's one of the issues that you can't win. You just can't win. Everybody is going to lose. But at the end of the day, I guess the winning is not to get even into a deeper problem. What's the deeper problem? You can, turn around, take that load back to Florida.
Yeah.
Is that the solution? Who's going to pay for the fuel? Who's going to pay for all this time, for all these miles? So we survived that issue. That was the worst one ever. That was literally a week of a driver sitting there, not even late for his appointment.
And, I can imagine the level of patience that has to exist there, because let's take it back to when you were driving. How do you know? How do you really, the level of frustration sets in that. How do you really know that dispatcher is doing everything in their power frantically to get that done for you, right?
Communication.
Yeah.
You got to continue to communicate with the driver. You got to continue to communicate with the driver. The sad part about it, if you're not communicating, he's out there 2 or 3 days and haven't heard from anyone.
It's probably even worse.
Yeah.
Right?
But if I'm calling you every so often to let you know what's going on, giving you progress, letting you know what's happening, letting you know I hadn't forgotten about you, those things, it can give you some reassurances or some assurances that at least if you're not unloaded, at least we're trying because I'm communicating you. I'm not leaving you out on the island by yourself.
And again, does somebody in the office trying on my behalf, is that good enough? I don't know. I don't know if that's good enough. However, after the experience on the road, in the truck, in the office, dealing with these problems, I have some bad news and some good news. The bad news is that stuff like this happens, and there is no winners. Nobody is winning of that, because even if the company manages not to lose a penny, but lose you as a driver,
We lost a lot.
we lost more than just the money. That's a lot
Agreed.
more. So that's a loss to the driver. No matter how you look at it, it's a loss to the broker or customer. That's probably a loss, because we ended up paying more than we had to. Did we pay enough? Not even close. But everybody lost in that situation, and I think everybody just need to kind of push through it, get over it. How many times did that so horribly happen? In my experience, once. This case right here, the one that we're talking about this week, is not even bad enough, because we are right here, the trailer is right here, the driver is able to grab another trailer, and we're kind of going to solve it. Yes, we're going to lose money. But at least driver is not going to lose as much, because we're losing money keeping the trailer
Keeping the trailer
loaded
sitting,
in the yard, especially now with shortage of trailers and so on. However, I have some good news. It's a very, very, very rare situation,
It absolutely is.
especially when it takes that long. Maybe one day here and there it will happen, but again, it doesn't happen every day. So with all my years and years of experience, I can count on probably like one hand those really, really bad instances. So that's a good news.
Thank God for good news.
It's not as common as we think. But again, share your story. Put it in the comments. I'm sure that's not the worst one. I'm sure there's probably a lot worse stories.
As a matter
out
of
there.
fact, a buddy of mine had a load that he was pulling for Amazon. He dropped his trailer at Amazon somewhere in Illinois, and the night picked up his trailer, thinking that just grab for all Amazon
It's a pool.
trailer pool, and he was waiting for that trailer for about 2 months. It was a horrible situation. I would have done a lot of things very, very differently, but it took the guy about 2 months to get it sorted out, and he obviously did not get compensated nearly as much as he should have. And the situation like this should have never, ever happened. But, when you are a one-man trucking company, dispatching and doing all that stuff, you are very weak against the Amazons of the world, Knights of the world. And for the most part, we will work with you, but we will never work enough to where, you will feel fairly compensated, for something as crazy as that.
What do you do? Just go to power only for about 2 months, or I would just grab it. That one's available.
He was doing mostly that with Amazon, because you can kind of do that with Amazon.
Yeah.
But again, his options was extremely limited, and he
You lost a lot of money at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And here we go. That's and apparently there is even something in the contract that once that trailer is there, we make the contract to protect themselves. So trust me, you're not gonna be just like, yo, get your crap out of that trailer. I'm picking it up right
Or
now.
someone stole my trailer. It was right here.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated than that. So I think he was actually, I suggested just report it stolen at least.
What about you, Mr. Davis? Any horror stories over there? I know you did reefer work, so I'm sure you got a story with that.
Well, we all kind of, on the lines of the same thing, whether it's a driver van or a reefer van, the same thing applies. Mike gave us some bad news and he gave us some good news. But out of that, the good news is, we're talking about it, but it don't happen that often. It does happen, but it don't happen that often. And then when it does happen, it's only thing you can do at that point is minimize your risk, financially, and things like that. But you never win on a deal like that.
I agree, because if I would say what should happen, we would be banned of YouTube right immediately. Mm-hmm. If I said that out loud, what should happen in that situation? But I agree to Jerome a lot. You just gotta minimize your loss. You gotta live through this. You're already in a situation. Don't make it worse. Just push through. There's gonna be another day to fight, and you're as a fighter, you can do this.
Nope. So as ugly as it is, you even lose drivers because of stuff like that, and it's no one's fault. But even if you are that guy, minimize your risk that moment, and if you end up switching companies because you feel some kind of way, and that just kind of compounds the problem, really. But
yeah, because now if you just wasted a week on that load, and now you're gonna waste another week to jump on another carrier, that's 2 weeks, and then the carrier probably did their job. I assume they did their job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there is a place here and there that not really gonna take care of the drivers, or at least I don't even know, is that even a possibility, because I don't care how ignorant you are. You need your trailer, you need your truck to roll. That's business. Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody would ignore it. So sometimes when you sit out there on the road and, the situation happens and you start hating the world, maybe there is more to the story. Maybe your company really doing something about it. We just, we can't just do whatever. We got to play by the rules.
So there you have it. Those are the topics of this week. We're living it. Sometimes it hits the fan, and we got to deal with it, right, boys?
Yep.
So,
absolutely. So, guys, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, follow us on social media. And how do you like our setup? Pretty sweet, right?
Absolutely.
I hope this mic sounds pretty awesome.
Mine's jumping around a little bit, man.
It is.
Need some help here.
Yeah. So here we go. All right, guys. I'll get back to you next week or whenever we get back to you.
Drive safe.
Drive safe. So how was it? Did you learn something?
Because of me, yeah. Oh, these seem sturdier.
Kind of shakes.
Like, share, subscribe, and follow us all around the social media, as well as post comments down below, and that's going to help us with topics for next videos.
That it?
Okay, so we got 2 important topics today. We have
All right. Come on, man.